in the world, and they are doing some amazing things, and there's incredible people that are making it happen over at Vistage, and Frances Marvel is one of them. I got a chance to sit down with Frances and hear all about the inner workings of Vistage, what she's doing, how Vistage is just crushing it. You're gonna love my sit down with Frances. Let's go check it out.
Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock, founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. We help others to grow and nurture their business, and really excited to have you here and to have my guest, Frances Marvel, here, who is a business development partner with Vistage. Frances, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to say, you've got probably the best last name on the planet with Marvel. I mean, come on. You have a partnership with...
A lot of expectations come with that last name.
Exactly. Are you going to like all of a sudden fly away in a cape? Listen, this is great. Love Vistage, and I want to get into, Frances, what you're doing for Vistage. But before that, you have a very interesting background of how you got to where you are now. Can we hear a little bit about that? How did you get started? What do you do?
Yeah, so I actually, in my undergrad, I actually studied political science.
Okay.
And so in that kind of nature of business, once you get in there, it's really hard to get out because it's all about relationships, making connections, having that historical, input. And I said, well, before I dive in, I want to go do something else first because I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to do that. And that kind of led me on a trajectory where I never went back.
And that was at Arizona U of A, is that right?
No, I teach at University of Arizona.
Okay. Where was your undergrad?
My undergrad was at Humboldt State University.
Got it. Okay.
I am fourth generation Californian. So one of those rarities. If Marvel is a cool last name, being fourth generation California is also pretty cool. And I went to Humboldt State University. I'd always sworn I wasn't going to go there because I'm a fourth generation Humboldt State graduate. My great grandmother was in one of the first female graduating classes.
Really?
At that time, you could only be a teacher if you were a female. So I have lived and seen when women had to quit their job because you weren't allowed to be married. So my great grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and myself have all matriculated from Humboldt State.
Unbelievable. What an incredible legacy.
Yeah. I mean, and it was funny that I fought it so hard. And then after graduation, I ended up getting a job down at Point Loma Nazarene University in San Diego.
Know it well. Yeah. Great school.
And I did their marketing. I was a marketing specialist there. So I did all the orders, promotions, saw the staff, like everything within the bookstore and for the campus. So everything except textbooks. If there was anything that you got that said PLNU or Point Loma Nazarene University, I ordered it. I bought it. I brought it in to the campus.
Nice.
Yeah. And then my grandmother passed away and I was like, I really want to I haven't traveled as much as I want. So I ended up doing mission work with YWAM. So I got to go over and live in Australia, Singapore, Philippines, Egypt. And when I came back, ended up getting a job with Bridgepoint Education, Ashford University, got into education, worked my way up there through management for enrollment and then into the marketing department and left as studio director. And during that time, I got my MBA, my master's in business with an emphasis in human resources. And then I also got my master's in education with a concentration in distance learning. Which is Frances, really beneficial now.
Yeah, Frances, you look way too young to have done all that already. What's going on?
That's that Marvel gene. I promise you, I'm much older than I look.
Oh, it's the anti-aging superhero. Yeah. That's hilarious. Wow, unbelievable. And yeah, and just you're teaching at U of A.
Yep.
Yeah, what are you doing there?
So I teach, generally I teach organizational management. So it's the upper division undergrad programs like level 300 courses. So organizational management and business ethics, leadership, those type of courses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. And so, we could have a whole discussion about your history there just on that alone, but tell me, let's get into Vistage. So
Yeah.
what's going on with you, your role at Vistage? What are you focused on?
So I'm really focused on helping new chairs establish new groups in their specific area. I've been doing it for a while, so I've gotten to cover kind of Hawaii to New York, but right now I'm really focused on the East Coast.
Okay.
So when someone retires as a CEO or business owner, um, they oftentimes want to figure out, how do I leave a legacy? They might go and golf, travel, spend some time with their
Right.
family, and then say, okay, it's been 6 months. What's next? How do I give back? And so we really have a great chair community. And so when those people come in and they say, I want to help other business owners, I want to help CEOs. And it's that fix, accomplish, avoid. They've gone through everything. They've had real world experience. So
Right.
they take that real world experience and they leverage it and they say, look, I'm going to build a group of peers, of other CEOs that can come together, and their whole goal is to just help each other.
Mm-hmm.
How do I help you fix something that's not working? How do I help you avoid the mistakes that I made, right, as a
Right.
CEO and business owner? And then how do I help you accomplish the goals so that you want to leave a legacy? So I really feel in my role that I'm helping those chairs leave their legacy,
Love it.
right?
Love it. Yeah. When do you get involved with the chair? So somebody finds out about Vistage,
Yeah.
and at what point do you step in, and what are the initial discussions you're having with them?
Well, a lot of the times, they'll talk to some of our like human resources personnel, recruiters, and answer some of those basic questions. If they
Yeah.
have additional questions, like what is their support going to look like, I might hop on a phone call with them and then, you know, answer any of their questions that they might have. Really, they go through academy, they learn about the process, they graduate from academy. After they graduate, they start working on how they're going to recruit CEOs and different members into their group, and then they're introduced to me.
Okay.
And then I
Okay.
work with them on everything from member selection. Hey, is this person who we really want in the group? To co-facilitation. This is how you're going to run your meeting. This is an effective way to run your meeting. And then also where to find other candidates that are going to fit what they're trying to build.
When you're initially talking to chairs, what sort of personality traits do you see that lend themselves to say, okay, this chair is going to be, really good? I mean, what are you looking for,
Mhm.
looking at, observing?
It's funny because I think if personality might be the wrong word. I've seen every personality under the sun, I feel like.
Makes sense.
Uh,
Yeah.
and, like attracts like. So different chairs have different styles, and all of them bring a different background and a different influence to who they're going to attract, the members that are going to be in their group, and what that group culture is going to be like. Just like any CEO building their company, culture is such a buzzword right now. They're building
Right.
that culture from leadership down. That's what the chair is doing with the group. So how that
Hmm.
chair shows up is how that group is going to behave. There are some qualities that successful chairs have. So you don't, some people
Right.
say, oh, you have to smile all the time. No, you don't. Like, I happen to be a smiler, but you don't have to smile 24/7 or put Vaseline on your teeth to be a chair. But I think what you have to do, I think you have to be really grounded in your why and your purpose for what you're doing.
It's a great
I think
statement. Yeah.
I think that you have to have a drive, a work ethic. You really have to want to put in the time to build this legacy and to build the group that you want. It's not going to be easy. And,
Hmm.
I think we all know in life, nothing easy, like anything that's really worth it is not
It's not
is
easy.
not easy.
No.
It's just
Right.
not easy.
No.
And that they have a perseverance. They turn roadblocks into stepping stones,
Hmm.
and they have a genuine care about people, and that, that's their goal, is to help people. They have a bigger why to leave a legacy. They have that work ethic, and then that tenacity and grit that, hey, I don't see roadblocks. I just see stepping stones.
Yeah, it's interesting your comment about someone who's retiring, because those leaders, they go through a struggle a lot of times, I see, about what's next after I sell the
Mhm.
business, or pass it on to the next generation. It's now what? And I think so there's that common thread of of the chairs that come on board is they do want to help people. It's the next chapter in their own life.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal, and they come on board. And then, so so you're working with them, and then do you stay with them as they build? And how does it play out over time?
Yeah, so I really partners in my title because that's what I do. I partner with
Right.
them. We're lockstep. So as we build the group, I'll meet the members. I'll help co-facilitate some of their first meetings, and then I'll go on the kind of selection one-to-ones that we'll have with those members to make sure we're building the right group and getting the right people in there. And then I help them until they're at a healthy group size. And what we consider, a healthy group size
Yeah.
is around 12.
Okay.
It's, we start maybe sometimes smaller than that, and it's still getting a ton of value. We just know through history that, hey, every once in a while life happens. Someone might not be able to make a meeting. So if we have a few more members, we know we're going to get people in the room. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I know Vistage has got an incredible, machine behind the scenes to help those chairs. Because you mentioned the Chair Academy, which remind me, how long is that? How long is Academy?
So Academy is 3 parts. So there's Academy 1, 2, and 3. Each, the first Academy is a week long, and then it's 3 days for Academy 2, 3 days for Academy 3, and then they have ongoing bi-monthly learning sessions at the Vistage chair groups. And so it is ongoing training for the duration of their chair career.
Yeah, nobody's thrown out there without a paddle
No.
flopping around at all. And I was going to ask you, so they come out of Academy, and then Francis, do you think, or do you encourage chairs to really look at this as a business? They're building their own business, they're running it. Is that a fair way to look at it?
I would say yes. It's they're running their own business. It's up to them if they're going to be successful. It's up to them to take advantage of the support that they're given. Right? You could be in a boat with paddles, but if you don't actually pick them up and paddle, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. So they're definitely, the ownership and the group is the chairs, and you can see that through any of the chairs that you talk to within our community. They own their groups. If you said, hey, what about this group? It's not a Vistage group, it's their group, right? It's their chair group, it's their business. So while Vistage is, the supporting entity, every chair has ownership of each group that they run.
And there's multiple groups, right? I mean, I think coming out of Chair Academy, it's the chief executive group that's focused on, but now there's other groups, small business and all these others.
Yeah, we've actually expanded a lot because we found a need. Our CEOs, feedback rich environment. We get surveys all the time, and we want to help our CEOs. We want to give them what they want. And one of the biggest gaps was their leadership within their organization, their middle management teams and upcoming leaders, and doing succession planning. So we really took a look at that gap and filled it for them. So we have the small business, we have key executive, we also have emerging leader, which is probably more that middle. And then we have advancing leader. Hey, who are your next SVPs going to be, your senior vice presidents? And then we have the trusted advisor groups as well. So we've really honed in on being able to provide everything that our CEOs need so that what they're learning in their Vistage group can be implemented throughout their organizations in a successful way.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Because then you can go into a company and you're working with the CEO, but then the other leadership within the company, it can be just a comprehensive effort for that company. And I know the Vistage companies, the stats bear it out. They just do better than other companies, right?
Yeah, right now our current stat, so on and I think you're talking about Vistage Inside, but just our regular member companies, they grow 2.2 times faster than non-member companies. But during COVID, we did the survey with Dun & Bradstreet just during the COVID years.
Yeah.
And our companies were up 4.6%. And that's off the top of my head. And then non-member companies were down 4.7. So not only did the non-companies not grow, they actually lost, and Vistage members grew.
That's a phenomenal statement. Amazing. Amazing. I've heard those stats before. Trying to wrap my head around that. It's a huge delta. So what I hear a lot about this, you know, I talking to chairs and from you, two like when they come on board, there's two things they love. Is one is the group meetings where they get together once a month and the CEOs are able in a private setting, you know, really kind of be vulnerable and expose themselves. That, and then the chairs say, you know what, Paul, I just love the one-to-ones because they get into the trenches with the, you know, their members and solve things and just, you know, I hear that feedback a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean the one-to-ones, especially. So if you're sitting there getting 15 different perspectives and, you know, maybe a list of different suggestions you could implement to help solve your issue. And then you get to meet with your chair for up to 2 hours, right? And say, okay, here's what I'm going to choose. Well, hey, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do it. Well, now the chair can dig in with you and figure out, now let's have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 step action plan that we can implement. So it's all aspects with detailed follow-up and accountability.
Nice. Love it. Now, as we're hitting the ceiling here in timing, a couple of things I want to ask you about. One is, what's the future look like? Anything, you know, new or you're focused on kind of going forward?
You know, I think our whole mission is to help CEOs, right? And so I think that's going to stay standard in the future. We're really going to focus on that, but listening to what our CEOs want. And, you know, our emerging leader and advancing leader programs have taken off. So really listening and getting that feedback. And I think there's some room for some more product development. And then also looking at the future for those chairs, right? That are maybe gonna retire from Vistage. And what does that look like with new chairs coming in? How do we bring in the chairs that are going to take over some of those groups and continue the legacy that other people have started?
Yeah, this is great, Francis. I could keep talking with you forever about this. I'm just fascinated by Vistage and everything you have going on there. I do have to tell our audience, I'm gonna release a little bit of secret. Before we went live, Francis and I were talking about Mexican food.
Oh yeah.
we could have gone on. We're like, we have an episode to do. We better get off this topic, you know, because that's a whole show we could do on Mexican food.
Hey, and I always recommend to my chairs, I'm like, get at least one member that's in the restaurant industry. They're going to have great food for at least.
Those are good friends. Good friends to have. Oh man, love it. Well, listen, Francis, thank you so much. Really appreciate you doing this. I'd love to have you back on and track what's going on. And thank you everybody for being here. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much, Paul. And thank you everyone for watching, and happy to come back anytime.
Oh yeah. And one last thing. If you want to get in touch with Francis, her information is going to be around this video, wherever you're watching this, because we stream this everywhere, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. So connect with Francis. She's great to get into your network, and we'll see everybody next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.